strive for progress, not perfection. With this beautiful thought, a very good morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are in good health. I, Shreya Jadhav, welcome you all to my e-learning channel. And today we are going to learn English, Grade 10, Unit 3. Two stories about flying. And today we are going to discuss Part 2, that is Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Forsyth. So in the previous lecture, we have gone through the first part and reading an explanation of it. And today we will be doing the second part of it. So before starting the reading about it, let us go through about the author. Frederick Forsyth, born on 25th August 1938. Frederick is an English author, journalist, former spy, and he is best known for his thrillers. And we will be learning one of his chapters regarding the faith in God. So let us go through the introduction for answers. So over here, all the students are supposed to write this down in your fair book, so this would be helpful to you whenever you write your examination question and answer. This will create a really good impact. So first we'll be writing down prose. Prose means chapter. Then we'll be writing down prose name, that is the Black Aeroplane. Then we have author's name, that is Frederick Forsyth. Then we have genre, that is short story. And the summary, that the narrator was in a deep trouble when his Dakota was trapped in the storm. So all of you are supposed to write this down in your fair books. So now let us begin the explanation of the chapter. So now, as you all know, dear students, that this is a short story. Yes, so over here we have very few characters. We don't have plenty of characters over here. We have either one or two or major 4 characters. So over here also, as it is a short story, we have limited number of characters over here. So let us begin the reading. Unit 2, the Black Aeroplane. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high above the sleeping countryside. I was flying in my old Dakota aeroplane over France, back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in morning. So over here, in the first paragraph, the writer is trying to give us an introduction and about the background. He is talking about that the moon was coming up from the east and the stars were shining. There wasn't even a single cloud, and the narrator was really very happy that he was the only person who was flying above this countryside. And he was flying his old Dakota aeroplane, that is a kind or a type of plane. He was coming back to England. He was in France and now he was returning back to England. And he was dreaming about his holidays and he was looking forward that to be with his family. And when he looked at his watch, it was 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the noise of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control Dakota DS 088 here. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England. Over. So now the narrator is thinking that he should be calling a Paris control room soon. And he found a bit noise in his aeroplane. And then he switched on his radio and he said that Paris control, so he was now giving the instructions, Dakota DS088 here. He was asking that was he audible enough, and he told that he was on his way to England, and then he said over. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12° west now. DS088, over. So, from the other hand, from the radio, the reply came immediately. And they told that they can hear you. And certain instructions were given that in which direction they are supposed to fly now. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12° west towards England. So now what happened? He checked his map, he checked his compass, and then he saw the fuel tank, and then he turned 12 degrees towards the west. Why? Because he was heading to England. I will be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Now what happened? He thought that he would be having his breakfast with his family, and everything was going really very smooth. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds, storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them. I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to north or south. So what happened? That Paris was about 150 kilometers behind him, and then he saw that there were big clouds which were so huge, like they were like a black big mountains, and they were storm clouds. Now it was not possible for the writer to fly above the clouds or go beneath them. Why? Because he was not having sufficient fuel with him. So the only way out was to go through the clouds. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. At first, the narrator thought that the only resort was that he was supposed to go back to Paris, because ahead he saw a huge cloud, yes, like mountains. But then he thought that as he wanted to go to his family and have breakfast with them, so he thought that he would be taking a bit of risk. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything. Outside the aeroplane, the old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe. So what happened? He thought that no, he should be taking a little bit of risk, and he just flew straight to the Dakota in the storm within the clouds. Everything turned black, and it was not at all possible for him to view anything. And the old Dakota aeroplane also jumped and twisted, and when he looked at the compass, he couldn't believe. See, over here you have one image of the narrator flying, and you can see in front that here we have black clouds, and he is a bit nervous what to do. My eyes, the compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It could not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Now what happened as he went inside the clouds? They were black clouds, stormy clouds, yes. And what he saw, that the compass in the plane was turning round and round, and it was not working. And the other instruments also suddenly were not working. Then he tried to call the radio. Paris control, can you hear me? And there was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds, quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. So, what happened? He tried to control. He tried to communicate to the Paris control room, but there was no answer because the radio was dead also. And he thought that now he was lost in the storm, and everywhere in the surrounding there were only black clouds. And then all of a sudden he saw that there was another plane also. This plane had no lights on its wings. Yes, but he could see flying. But that plane was flying next to his plane. And he saw that the pilot's face was also turned towards him. And while looking this, that he was really very glad to see another person to help him. And that person in the another plane lifted up his hand and waved at him. Follow me, he was saying, follow me. He knows that I am lost. I thought he is trying to help me. Now, what happened? The instructions had come from that another plane, and he told, in we can say either by a gesture, he told to follow him. And the narrator thought that as he was lost, this person in that another plane would help him out. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in the front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. So, what happened? Slowly and gradually, that aeroplane turned to the north, and the plane was in front of the narrator's plane. And now it was really very easy for the narrator to follow him, and he was so happy. And all of a sudden, the narrator behaved like a really obedient child. Yes, and he was constantly following the path which was given. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now, you can see over here the picture, the narrator is a bit in shock. Now, there was only enough fuel in Old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. So, what happened when the narrator checked his fuel tank? At that time, he realized that now he was lacking in the fuel, and now it would be only possible for him to fly for 5 to 10 minutes. And he again got that strange feeling, and then the plane which was ahead of him, he started uplanding, and the narrator also followed him. Suddenly I came out of the cloud and saw two long straight lines of lights in front of me. It was runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from Old Dakota near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to thank. Now, what happened? Suddenly, he came out of those huge black stormy clouds and he saw two straight lines, and those two straight lines were of runway. He came and landed on the airport and he was safe. He turned back and he searched for his friend, the another black aeroplane who had helped him out. But all of a sudden, it was a quick change. There was nothing. And the aeroplane was gone and he could not see anything over there. He landed and he went to the control tower and he asked the woman who was sitting there, who was in authority at that time. He went and asked that where was that other pilot. Yes, because the narrator wanted to thank him. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. Another aeroplane up there in this storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. So he asked, and the lady, the woman over there, was so much no, in an odd, means he was, means she was behaving strangely, and she laughed that there is another aeroplane also, because up in the storm the narrator was the only one who was flying the aeroplane. There was no other one, because only one aeroplane she could visualize from the radar. So, who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio or without any more fuel in my tank? Who was the pilot on that strange black aeroplane flying in the storms without lights? So then he was a bit in a confusion, and he thought that who was he who was there to help me in this odd situation, because narrator was not at all safe. Why? Because he was not having compass, he was not having radio, he was not having any sort of more fuel, but still somehow he got that lucky enough and he found that he was really very safe. So this is all about the chapter. So let us have a quick summary of it, what we have gone through. The narrator was flying Dakota aeroplane at night in a clear sky. He was flying over France to go back to England to be with his family. He looked at his watch. It was 1:30 in the morning. He was having a pleasant journey. He switched on the radio and spoke to Paris Control Tower. He informed them that he was on his way to England. After talking to them, he checked the map and the compass, switched to his second and last fuel tank, and turned his plane 12 degrees west. All was going well, but all of a sudden he saw black clouds like huge mountains in front of him. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind him. He knew that he could not fly up and over the clouds. He didn't have enough fuel to fly north or south. He wanted to go home, so he risked going straight into the storm. Once he was in, he couldn't see anything outside the plane. The old plane jumped and twisted in the air. The compass was dead, and it was just turning round and round. He had lost all the contact with Paris Control Tower. Just then, he saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but he could see it flying next to him through the storm. The pilot waved one hand at him, and the narrator followed him. The other pilot turned his aeroplane slowly to the north. The narrator followed him as an obedient child. The narrator was beginning to feel afraid, as he now had enough fuel only for 5 to 10 minutes more. The black plane started to go down, and the narrator followed him. He came out of the clouds and saw two straight lines of lights in front of him. It was the runway of an airport. However, he couldn't see the black plane anywhere. The narrator landed and walked to the control room and asked the lady. And then he asked the lady where he was and who was the pilot of black plane. He wanted to thank him for his help. The lady looked strangely at the narrator because there was no other plane in the storm, and she could see only the narrator's plane on the radar. So the narrator was left totally confused as to who helped him to come safely to the airport from the storm without a compass, radio, or without enough fuel in his tanks. He remained, and this remained a mystery. So, dear students, I hope you have understood the chapter. But still, if you find any doubt or difficulty, you can comment down in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.